What does it mean to lose the idea of home? What happens when you travel thousands of miles away to go back home to Pakistan and it still doesn't feel like home? That's one of the many questions that I was trying to answer as I started this podcast called Pehchan. And as we come to the end of season one, I have even more questions than answers. I started this podcast or started thinking about this podcast 2 years ago because I had questions like, what does it mean to be away from home, to be a Pakistani away from home, to be a Pakistani American? What is home? Who am I? बहुत सारे deep existentialist questions थे और ये कॉन्वर्जेशन मैंने शुरू की with interesting people. I invited Raza Rumi, who talked about, you know, the idea of losing home, the idea of going back to Pakistan and feeling like your home, but आपके जो रिश्तेदार होते हैं, जो दोस्त होते हैं, वो समझ जाते हैं कि आप घर नहीं हैं, आप पाकिस्तानी नहीं हैं, आप बाहर से आए हैं। तो आपके लिए डिनर्स हो रहे होते हैं, चीज़ें हो रही होती हैं, लेकिन आप उस घर की फीलिंग को टोटल एक तरीके से अपना नहीं पाते। शायद पहली ट्रिप बैक होम, दूसरी ट्रिप बैक होम यू कैन फील अ लिटिल बिट लाइक होम, बट उसके बाद इट टेपर्स ऑफ। दानिश मुनीर से मेरी बात हुई। ही टॉक्ड अबाउट द झूठी तसल्लीज दैट वी गिव आवर पेरेंट्स एंड आवर फ्रेंड्स एंड आवर फैमिली कि हम बस पढ़ने जा रहे हैं अमेरिका 5 साल 4 साल, फिर हम वापस आ जाएंगे। And then how do those jhuti tasallis and our decision not to live up to our promises haunts us for over a decade, in some cases, or for the rest of our lives? Kiran Khalid talked about how well-meaning people advised her to change her name to Kiran Lopez because she would do better on TV had she changed her name, but she stuck to her name and made it as the first Pakistani American woman on broadcast TV in her own on her own terms. Amreen Ali talked about uh, how, we all came here as immigrants, but we're not going to be immigrants forever. What's the plan? When are we going to stop living these double lives? Saira Saeed asked about or talked about how she asked her mom, why am I brown? Why am I not black or white? Mostly white. And I never asked myself this question because I grew up in Pakistan, but I imagine my daughter born here will ask me that question one day. What's the answer to that question? I don't know the answer to that question. But I am getting close. I am getting some surprising leads and answers in the journey of season one. And I hope you enjoyed season one as well. But there's a lot more digging to do. So we're going to have a season two, but we're going to have a season two with a little bit of a twist. Amreen, who was my last guest on this season, will be joining me as a co-host because I realized that um, the diversity of the Pakistan American experience is so fascinating that my own life experience doesn't represent all of it. I immigrated here, but there are lots of interesting Pakistani Americans who were born here. And Ambreen brings a really unique vantage point, a sense of humor, and a really rare perspective to the Pakistani American experience that I'm excited to have on board. We've already started shooting season two. We'll launch in March, inshallah. We've already sort of recorded 3 episodes and going strong over there. So excited about that. I also wanted to take a moment to apologize for not being a regular poster of this podcast on a weekly basis. It was due to good reasons. I had a baby boy, Suleiman, born in October, and that threw off my schedule. So I've been a little bit tardy on posting, but when we start in March, we're going to post sort of weekly our season two and get back into the rhythm of things. In the meanwhile, this is your podcast. This is our community. If you have any guest names, if you have any feedback, please drop it in the comment section. And your comments and your feedback has been what's kept us going. The amount of meaning and joy that I felt when I've heard from people, the feedback that I've heard that, hey, this is our story, this is something that we've not heard, this is giving our community a voice. that's what keeps me going. There's nothing else that keeps this podcast going. So please do share your feedback. Please do continue to share the love. Thank you so much, and see you on season 2 very soon.